Guys, my name is Braxton Powell. I'm a worship guitar player here in the great city of Indianapolis, Indiana. And today I get to share with you some of the things that I've learned, whether through experience or through just wisdom and learning through people. And today I get to kind of share my heart with you and just what it means to me to be a worship leader on a guitar. I'm going to talk about three main kind of points about this musicianship and how we can look at being worship leaders. And those three are inward musicianship, upward musicianship, and outward musicianship. So the first topic is inward. And the first point I want to kind of hit on is what you put in is what you're going to get out. So what do I mean by this? Well, we all have different albums and artists and songs that we love to listen to. My library is loaded full of music that I listen to on a day-to-day basis. I think if we're all being honest with ourselves, and all 10 pointed right back at me, we all have those groups that we like to listen to. I mean, I love Coldplay. They sound incredible. I love John Mayer, and there's a few other people I could name, but the point is, we all have those groups that there's some days where we just listen to them. The point is, if we're giving a lot of our time and our ear time to things that aren't influencing us in worship, then when we go to do worship, and we go to get up there and perform and lead in worship, then our influences are going to be pulled from things that aren't worshipful. And a great example of this is I was playing a while ago at an altar call. We got up and the song that they picked, was off the cuff, just kind of based off what the preacher was preaching. And this progression just kept reminding me of a John Mayer song. And I wasn't doing it on purpose. It was just, I'd been listening to so much John Mayer that it was just like going through my head. And all I could think about was these guitar lines. And I didn't play them, and it was so hard to focus because that's all I could think about. And I lost that moment in that altar call. And I was really convicted after, and I had to do some really big introspects and just kind of go back and look at myself and make sure nothing else was wrong. And it was hard on me because I felt like I really screwed up. Now, this can benefit you as well, if you're playing at an event or your service or whatever, and you need to have this kind of influence, whether it's more of a gospel or CCM or whatever, listen to that stuff. Listen to what you want to sound like. And point number two is, who are you looking up to? And, we all have those artists or, people that have made it that we strive to be like. For me, it's, Jeffrey Cundy or Nigel Hendroff, Bobby Strand, Michael Pope. These guys that pave the way for worship guitar playing in this world that we live in. And I love it. I love listening to them. But I'm most likely never going to talk to those guys. They're from Jesus Culture and Bethel and Hillsong. I'm never going to meet them. I'm never going to get to talk to them or text them and be like, hey man, what's up? You need to have those people in your life that, one, can speak to you if they see something they don't like or they do like, or that you can go to with questions or if you're needing advice. Find people that you can talk to, that you can look up to, as well as the people that you want to sound like. So who are you looking up to? That's point number two. Point number three is about practice. Perfect practice makes perfect. Now, we're still talking about this inward musicianship. It's our personal stuff. It's our personality as a musician. So, for me, when I go to practice, a lot of times it's hard because I'll practice what I like and what I love to practice, whether it's hard or not. If I love the song, I'm going to practice it. And if there's something I necessarily don't like, I typically skip over it. And that can be bad. Same thing with your scales or, your modes or anything that you're kind of practicing theory-wise or whatever. You have to practice the stuff you don't like, the stuff you do like, the stuff that's hard, the stuff that's easy. You got to keep yourself, kind of balanced and well-rounded. Point number four of inward musicianship is balance your playing. So, if you're like me, I listen to, like I said, a lot of different music, a lot of different genres of Christian music. And some days I may feel like super CCM, or I may feel like, just old bluesy leads or jazz stuff or gospel stuff. It kind of varies, with my mood. And if I don't balance my practice time and my personal playing time and just kind of my fun time, then I kind of lose the taste in some of the things that I need to play in. And what I mean by this is, you're doing an altar call and you've got this off-the-cuff song that wasn't in the set, and it may be a different feel, fast, slow, gospel, CCM, whatever. You've got to kind of be ready to fulfill that role as a guitar player. And if all you've been practicing and playing is one sound and it's not that sound, then it's probably going to be hard for you to fulfill that spot. So just balance yourself. Point number 5 of inward musicianship is a hard one to kind of grasp, and it's a hard one for me. And that is that no one cares more about your gear than you do. You could walk in and have bought this crazy cool overdrive pedal, and probably no one's going to care because it's just an overdrive. You may have got this really cool new thing that you just absolutely love and had to have, and chances are no one's going to notice it except you. So be careful, because if you just try to go out and get everything that you want or that everyone else has, you're going to find yourself in this loop of just distraction almost. Don't rush to get anything. Just do you. Not because someone told you to do it, but because you think it sounds good and it benefits you. No one cares more about the gear than you do. So the second topic or point that we're going to kind of hit on is the upward musicianship. This is the spiritual side. Similar to our personal side, there's a spiritual side to being a worship leader. If we don't have a spiritual connection or relationship, then we're not really doing anything except being fake. And that's not good at all. It's imperative that we are connected spiritually to become the conduits that God has created for us to be. One of my favorite quotes is, as worship leaders, we have the most important and terrifying task of putting words of worship on people's lips. Now, we're not necessarily singing, maybe you do, I do sometimes, but we're putting worship in people's ears and minds and their spirits. And it's a terrifying task. And if we don't do it right, if we're not in the right spirit, if we're not in the right vein of movement, if we're not connected with God, then we're not going to bring people to worship. We're just going to bring them to a place of self-benefit where we're just playing to be playing. And that's not good at all. So, upward musicianship. The first point is what you put in, you're going to get out. Same thing with our personal side. Whatever you put into your spiritual connection with God and your spiritual relationship is exactly what you're going to get out. And if we walk into these services and these events expecting God to move, we have to have put in that expectancy in other places. We have to prayer and fasting and reading our Bible and studying and just living a life worthy. And as a worship leader, that's incredibly imperative. Point number 2 is, who are you playing for? I find that sometimes it's hard. I'm a people pleaser, and if I'm scared about playing a certain line or this lick or something, I want the approval of my bandmates or people around me, and sometimes I'll lose sight of the worship because I'm so worried about what people think about what I'm